welcome to Zero Cool Gaming and today's anime review. Today I'm going to be going over an anime called Crest of the Stars. It's also called Banner of the Stars. That's the next part of this series. This is an interesting series, and the reviews in truth are even more interesting. The cognitive dissonance. Wow. So let's get into this. I've read several reviews for this show, and while the reviews do discuss what the show is about, they also ignore what the show is about. It's odd. The cognitive dissonance truly is amazing. I've never seen something so I don't know how to describe that. Anyway, I don't know how to describe that properly. So basically, this is a show about these two. It's a space drama. It's actually a romance drama. And they go around the galaxy, and different things happen to them, of course. And all the reviews discuss, what happens, and the action scenes, and what's this and what's that, and blah 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 blah, and who they are. Not one of them discussed in that respect the dynamics of their relationship. It's like it's kryptonite, and they don't want to even touch it because it burns. It burns! It burns! So they just ignore it and act like it doesn't exist. Because that works. Truly. You might be wondering what I'm talking about. Basically, this story is the first story, by the way, I've ever seen. I've seen a couple more since, but they are truly rare romance stories. Like I said, because women see it as kryptonite, and apparently the thought burns. But this is a romance story about a woman who, if she ever wants to have a family and enjoy that aspect of her life, is she's going to have to marry down. And the reason that she's going to have to marry down, and of course they put it on a pretty extreme sense of understanding in this show. There's like 4 or 5 people above her in this universe. And yeah. Just like none of them ladies would be entitled to you, guess what? You, as a woman, would not be entitled to any of them either. I know. Kryptonite. Scary. It burns. The thought. Such insanity. The reality here is that women refuse to, and they probably never will accept in any way, shape, or form, that as they move themselves up the social ladder based on skills, whatnot, and become, higher and higher in status, that those above you in that respect, just because you move up doesn't mean that those above you are required in any way, shape, or form to marry you. You are not entitled to any of them. Period. In much the same way that no man is entitled to any woman, or no woman is entitled to any man. Period. So if you're in the top 10,000, there is a high probability that none of them above you are going to want you. And like I said, once again, you are entitled to none of them. Men do not think like women. Period. In fact, you would be hard-pressed to find a man who believes he's going to marry up. No man that I know thinks that. Every man I've ever known, including myself, just assumed that they will marry down. Period. Not even evenly across. Assumed right from the get-go that you will marry down. And that is most men. Just as most women assume right from the get-go that they will marry up. The problem with that thinking, and why it doesn't work for women of power, is simple. There are not enough men above you to choose from. Period. And most of those men do not want a woman that is equal to them. Neither do they want a woman that is above them. As I said, they assumed right from the get-go they will be marrying down. And while you may be below that man you want as a woman of power, you will watch him marry somebody far below even your status. Men do not care about your status, your power, or how far up the social ladder you climb. Period. Women care about those things, not men. And it's not like men don't ever consider those things. They do, to a point. But if they can't find a woman that is of culture, reason, and is feminine, nice, soft, enjoyable to be around, that is somewhat around their social status, they will look elsewhere. They don't care. Men just want a wife. And a wife to them is not somebody who's out working 60 hours a week to, grow themselves in their independence. That's not a wife to a man. I'm sorry. That's what they do to show that they care. If that's what a woman wants to do to show that she cares, she's going to need to marry a stay-at-home dad. You want to talk about, marrying way below your status in that respect, or marrying down. Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to reverse the roles to where you're the breadwinner and you want to work and, supply whatever for your family and this, that, and the other and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, strong, independent woman. Yeah, you're going to need a stay-at-home man. Take care of the kids, take care of the house, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's the only way that's going to work. Because if both of you are gone 60 hours a week, nobody's raising your kids. Men don't want that. Men don't like that. That's why men reject it. That's why many powerful women today are not married, have no children, and regret their decisions. This show quite literally is, like I said, the first show that ever addresses that reality in a logical, appropriate manner. This woman literally had 5 people that were above her in status that she could choose from in that respect. None of them wanted her. Therefore, there was no one above her to marry up, period. And if she wanted to find love, have a family, the only option left was to marry down. In the real world, it's not going to be that blatant. But it still applies. It's very applicable. And it is still the reality of the world we live in today. Anyway. Banner of the Stars. Crest of the Stars. A unique space drama, romance novel that approaches relationships in one of the more obscure relationship types, and approaches it in a good way. I liked it. I thought it was a good show. Thought it was well done. I don't think women watch this show. I don't think that they would appreciate the message within it. And the reviews that I have read, while they do not disparage the show in that respect, they also leave out the reality of what the show talks about and avoid that as if it was some sort of kryptonite. Something that burns when thought about. Because there's no mention of it. Period. At all. In any of the reviews. Anyway. That's my rant for the day. And I hope you enjoy the rest of yours.